Hello, and welcome to my podcast, Conversations Here and Now. My name is Naresh. It's Monday, 12th of May, 2026. Thank you so much for being here with me. I'm looking at why people's lives are so chaotic today. People are always running around, constantly busy. I've been told they have no time to even watch my podcast that's only 15 minutes long, right? They tell me that's too long. They say you should make it like TikTok, 4 minutes long, and that's it. So anyway, I wanted to really look deeply at a little bit at why people's lives are so chaotic today. So, as I say, people's lives feel chaotic today because modern life combines several pressures that human beings, us, were never really designed to handle all at once. It's not just being busy, it is constant cognitive, emotional, financial, and social overload happening every single day without any real recovery time. And that, weekends as well, right? News is a 24-hour cycle now, 7 days a week, got no breaks. So let's look at some of the reasons, okay? One of the biggest is number one. This is one of the biggest. Constant stimulation never stops. For most of human history, life had natural pauses. I'm talking up to 15 to 20 years ago. Okay, definitely 20 years ago. Before that, in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s, we had evenings were quiet. When you finished your job work, work ended physically, and that was it, right? News traveled very slowly. We didn't have social media. There was no cell phones and tablets in the 80s and 90s. You either had to read the newspaper or you had to turn on the TV and watch the news, and there was like 10 channels in the 80s, right? Now there's thousands of channels, literally. So, news traveled very slowly. You had to make an effort to find news. People compared themselves only locally, what's happening around you. Okay? So that's what was before. What's happened now? Phones. Our phones follow us everywhere. They're stuck to our hands no matter where we go. Notifications never end. So it's not just text messages or you're getting or WhatsApp, whatever, but your Instagram, your Reddit or whatever you're on, their messages are constantly coming through. Especially Instagram, people are a lot on that social media. Uh, Bad news, good news, everything arrives instantly whatever's happening around the world. There's no, in the old days, when we didn't have social media and the cell phones, it would take a little while for the news to make it out. You have to read the next day's newspaper, or you have to watch news that night, to try and find out what's going on. Now it's instant. Something can happen around the world somewhere, and you know it within the next hour, if not sooner, right? So social media creates non-stop comparison, and entertainment is infinite. So our brain, nervous system never powers down. Information is coming at us constantly, right? So that is really, this constant stimulation. Our brains were meant for that. This is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. People go to sleep, they got their phone sitting right next to them. They're lying down in bed and they're looking right at the phone. So, and that's really bad, but that's exactly what it is. So that's point number one. My point number two is work has expanded into all of our lives. Technology was supposed to save time for us, but it increased expectations. People are now expected to answer instantly, multitask constantly, remain reachable after hours, learn new systems forever, stay productive at all times. So, if you're some jobs, if your boss says, hey, you've gone home and you get a message from your supervisor, manager, boss, hey, tomorrow we need this done. You have to answer right away. It wasn't like that before, right? And even at work, you got to be constantly multitasking, or at home, you got to be constantly multitasking. You have to remain, many jobs now, you have to remain reachable after hours. There might be some laws against it, but you really do have to, pick up those texts, right? At home, whether it's your home computer or with you have to learn new systems forever. The newest, Microsoft, the newest, whatever it may be, newest Adobe, newest this update, newest that. You have to learn about it, right? And it's constantly updating. And you have to stay productive at all times. You know why you have to stay productive at all times? Because everything is measured, right? Analytics measures everything, no matter where you're working. So they know exactly what you're doing. You're being watched. It wasn't like that before. The analytics weren't, around like the way they are, and statistics, analytics, and AI. Everything measures your performance. You know, people who work at Costco or supermarkets, you know, analytics will tell the manager how many items you're putting through every minute, every hour. So they know exactly what you're doing. And that causes chaos and stress. Many people feel guilty when resting because modern culture often treats rest as laziness instead of recovery. So if you know, try not to answer your phone, you don't remain reachable after hours, you're not productive, then, people are made to feel lazy, and that's wrong, absolutely wrong. And so that's point number two. Point number three is information overload creates mental paralysis. Our brains can only handle so much information in the 24 hours. Sometimes we feel like we wish we had 29 hours, 30 hours, but humans evolved to process limited information from small communities. Okay? So that's exact. And up to 25 years ago, that's how it was, right? Today, you constantly have to absorb information about global wars, and we all know what's going on right now in the Middle East and Ukraine and Russia and other areas of the world, and it's constantly coming at us. Economic fears happening right now with results of the war in the Middle East. Political outrage happening right now all around the world, whether it's in Europe, whether it's in Ukraine, Russia, whether it's Middle East, whether it's down in the Caribbean, or Pacific, wherever, Canada, United States. Political outrage is everywhere, especially from what's coming out of the U.S., and it's causes outrage everywhere. Financial advice is always coming at us because we got to look out for our finances. You got to save money for a rainy day. You got to save money for emergencies. You got to save money for your retirement. You got to balance your finances. So that financial advice is also coming at us. Productivity advice, that's at work. You're constantly being fed. This is what you have to do to be more productive. At home, you're constantly being told this is what you have to do to be more productive at home. Endless opinions are coming at you from social media, and because of the fact of these phones, you're constantly being fed the news. So endless opinions are coming at you from YouTube, from Instagram, whatever other media sites you're on. So the brain struggles to distinguish what truly really matters. This creates chronic anxiety and decision fatigue, and that's happening a lot to everybody every day now. Whether it's 7 days a week, doesn't matter if it's weekend. Now, that's a big point. Number 4 that I looked at was communities. Communities have become weakened. They're not as strong as they used to be, right? In previous generations, a lot of us, most of us had tight family groupings, strong neighborhoods, religious or civic communities, more face-to-face interaction with your neighbors, with your relatives, brothers, sisters, mothers, fathers. Today, many people are physically surrounded by others, but emotionally isolated. Loneliness creates instability because humans regulate stress better together, right? People are so busy, they don't have time to call their mom and dad. People are so busy, they don't stay in touch with their brothers and sisters or even their high school friends or their neighbors. Most people don't even know who their neighbors are. That's how much they're under stress from all this information that I have just given you in previous 3 points. Nobody talks to their neighbors. It's very rare now, especially when younger, in the late 20s and 30s and 40s, they're just running around. You don't know your neighbors as well as you should. So that's a huge point. Communities have become really weak, right? Everything becomes more expensive and uncertain. That's point number 5. Housing, healthcare, education, retirement, food costs have risen dramatically in many places, while job security feels weaker. Even middle class people often feel financially fragile. A constant sense of one problem away from disaster keeps people in the survival mode constantly, right? No matter how hard you're really trying hard to balance your finances, really trying hard, it doesn't matter. You could still be, one problem away. Something happens huge, and all of a sudden you need a lot of money to deal with this problem, or something health wise happens, something with your health, house, anything can drop on you any time. And so people are chronically under stress, they're under anxiety, and they're running around like everything is ending, right? So this kind of thing keeps people always in a survival mode. People have picked up 2 jobs, 3 jobs they're doing in order to try and get more money, to be able to deal with their finances, to be able to deal with their education debts, retirement, food costs. These are huge things that are happening right now because of everything that's happening in the world. Causes anxiety, chronic stress, right? So there's too many choices. Point number 6, there's way too many choices. Modern life offers endless options for your careers, for your lifestyles, diets, investments, entertainment, all these things. Information, as I said, is constantly coming to you. In the old days, I know I keep referring to old days, when we didn't have all these, the cell phones and the tablets and internet, if you wanted to know what movie was playing, you had to pick up the newspaper and look at it and say, hey, oh, okay, this movie's playing. You had to call the theater and find out what movie's playing, etc. That's what I used to do up to the 90s, right? Almost till year 2000. That's what we used to do, right? But that's not how it is anymore, right? All kinds of information comes at you about what is happening everywhere. So that makes it hard to make a solid decision, you know. But freedom sounds good, but unlimited choice often creates indecision. Yeah, the fear of missing out. You know everything, you want to do everything, but you can't do everything. Regrets because you missed out on something. Constant second guessing. Well, maybe I should go here. Maybe I should do this. Maybe I should go over there. Maybe this wasn't my best decision for my health or for my finances, because all the information is constantly coming at you at every channel on TV that you watch, or you may be watching multiple podcasts like this one, but this is what comes at you. All kinds of information comes at you, right? So puts more pressure on people, and thus people end up having chaotic lives, right? So attention becomes the economy. That's point number 7. Many large companies are competing aggressively for human attention because attention generates profit. We're looking at, social media companies like Meta, TikTok, YouTube, any other, Twitch, whatever else is out there, and countless apps that are designed to keep people engaged as long as possible. So people just look at their phones. You go walk down the street, most young people will walk with their phones in their hand and looking down at it. Most people sit in the bus, they look at the phone. Most, car, they're not supposed to, but they're doing it in the car. At work, they have got their phones right at their desk. Information is constantly coming. They're constantly on Facebook, constantly on TikTok, constantly on YouTube, even at work. I've seen this. So, the result is, so what's the result of all this information that these companies coming at you aggressively? Is fractured concentration. Don't have concentration anymore. Shorter attention spans, right? Emotional exhaustion. That's a big one. People, like our minds, can't process all this information and decision making. And you have a big one, inability to sit quietly. You get so used to all this information coming at you that you can't handle silence anymore. You think something is wrong when information isn't coming at you. People rarely experience mental silence anymore. And that's 100%, right? So that's a big one. Number 8, people lost, with these chaotic lifestyles, people lost meaningful rhythms. Healthy human life traditionally had rhythms: work and then you rest, different seasons, family meals, right? Meals with friends, community gatherings. If you're in a religious person in church, temple, you had your religious rituals. Had nice, slow evenings where you can sit and relax with your family. So that's all pretty much gone. It really is. You have to work at it now. So modern life flattened many of these rhythms into one endless stream of activity. Without rhythm, life starts feeling shapeless and chaotic, and that's exactly what people are going through, because constant information is coming at us every second of the day. So what's the deep problem here? What's the whole thing this leads to? Okay, so many people are trying to live at machine speed, like really all that information coming at you under economic pressure because of because of all the stuff that's happening in the world today. Economic pressure is huge. Okay, so that causes chaos in your lives with constant stimulation. Again, like I said, your phones are constantly sending you notifications about this. Everybody's got their notifications turned on. You should not, but people do, and that's the result. Constant stimulation in your mind. Without community connections are not there anymore as they should be or as they used to be. And people are carrying around unresolved stress from all of this information and everything else that's coming at you. The human mind and body were not built for continuous acceleration. You need time to slow down. You need time to, peace out, man. That's what they used to say in our days. I'm just taking it easy now. Just leave me alone. That kind of thing doesn't happen anymore, but that's what you need to do. So what is it that can actually reduce some of this chaos? The solution is usually not just becoming more productive, and that's constantly expected of you, whether you're at work or whether you're at home, in any part of your life. It's reducing unnecessary complexity. Okay, so what is that about? People who regain peace, and it can be done, often do so by doing combination of these things. They limit their digital noise. Don't look at the phone or the TV as much. Simplifying your commitments. Yes, don't have to say yes to everybody that wants to meet up with you. Protecting your sleep, that goes a long way. You got to get 7 to 8 hours of sleep every night. Okay, so put the phone away completely, right? So blue noise or whatever they call it that's coming from these phones. Protect your sleep like nothing else. It's absolutely important for your health. Exercising regularly, even if you go out every day for a 30 to 45-minute walk, so good. It's so important. Spending more time in nature, which is what happens if you go out for a walk, go to a park, right? You spend more time in nature. Creating a routine, have a routine every day, from the time you get up in the morning to the time you go to sleep. Set up a routine. It helps less stress. It helps lessen your stress. Well, yes, less stress, and helps cut down on chaos. Okay, so reduce comparison. Don't constantly be comparing yourself with other people. Well, other people are doing this, you got to be doing this. Other people have this kind of car, this kind of uh, guest bag. You got to have it. No, cut it all out. You have what you have, and you live with that. Focusing on a few meaningful priorities. Okay, what's the priorities in your life? Pick out, is it financial? Is maybe just financial, and your health and your well-being of your family. Those are the most important priorities. Focus on those. Don't worry about what's going on outside everywhere else in the world, and that creates more chaos if you do that. Right? Building real world relationships, with your family. That's the most important, right? So with your kids, with your parents, with your spouse, everybody. These are the real world relationships that you need when during good times and bad times. Okay, so those are the most important. Build those real world relationships. Maybe a few friends that you have. Accepting that not everything can be optimized, and that's in your own life, whether it's at work, whether it's at home. You do your best. You do what you can. It may not be the most optimal, but at least you built something, and you're doing something that's good for you, that works for you. Okay, and you can obviously, most things can be always improved, but you keep at it. Okay, so chaos grows when everything feels really urgent. Peace itself grows when people decide what truly matters in your life and let the rest become smaller. I'm not saying let it, throw it away completely, but decide on what is really important in your life. As I've already mentioned, health, finance, your family, etc., and your job too, and let everything else, be in the second place. Okay, so a calmer life today is usually built intentionally because modern systems naturally pull people towards fragmentation and overload. So it is really important to take the time that the steps that I've mentioned at the end and input those some of those steps, if not all of them, some of them, as many as you can, in order to make your life less chaotic. All right, because it's for yourself, it's for your health. You only have one life, right? If you leave, once you get into the workforce and by the time you retire, if all you're doing is leading an absolutely chaotic, crazy life, how much your health is going to suffer. What will you enjoy at retirement if you get to retire at all, right? So please look after yourself. Cut the chaos, cut the anxiety in your life. And I hope you really enjoyed my topic today. Thank you for being here with me. Please like, please subscribe, turn on your notifications, and share it with your friends. And let me know in my comments, in the comments section below, how it is that you handle stress today. How it is you handle your chaotic life today. What do you do to lessen the chaos and the stress? Again, thank you very much for being here with me. Take care. See you next time. Same channel, same place, same time. Good day.